I guess we all had wished somebody would have told us before we started beekeeping. So what are some things that you wish somebody would have told you before you started? So that's going to be a crowd participation right now. All right, get ready. I want you to leave a comment right now of what you wish somebody would have told you before you started. Come on, leave a comment. Let's see them. What do you wish somebody would have told you before you would have started? Now that you became bees a while, you realize, I had no idea I was going to have to be dealing with this or buy that. I had no idea I would have to be facing these challenges. All right. Yeah, the cost, Richard, man, just keeps going up, doesn't it? No kidding. Beekeeping is not cheap, and it's hard to make it cheap. Yeah. Hey, Mark, to keep frames in the same order for the most part, it does help, doesn't it? Mix all those frames up after the bees organize all their resources. Yeah, it can be tough. Oh, yeah, to have extra equipment on hand for a swarm. Good idea. Yep, how to prevent an early swarm. You come out of winter, luckily they're alive, and there they go off to the trees. It is addictive. Nobody told us that, did they? It's like, I can't get enough of beekeeping. Yeah. What do you wish somebody would have told you before you started beekeeping? Gary, how are you doing? How attached I would get to my gals. Isn't that true? I think that's why so many people just grieve when their bees die in the winter, because they're so attached. Don't buy used equipment. Yeah, that can turn out bad if their frames are infected with the disease. I wish somebody would have told me it's a lot of work. And boy, Barbara, you're right. Barbie, it is a lot of work. It's a ton of work. Wow. Yeah, the bee stings hurt. Hey, Carrie, they do hurt just for a few minutes, but ouch. Yeah, treating for mites, top of the list of things to do. Got to really go after those. Laura, keep your car away from cleansing flights. Oh my gosh, you can't get that off, can you? It's terrible. Yeah, how fun it is. Now, I will admit I've been telling people how fun it is for years. I've been saying it's a hoot. Bees don't read the same books we do. They sure don't. It's like, why aren't you doing that for? That's not in the book. You're supposed to be doing something else. Colleen, the value of a local nuke versus a shipped package. That can be true. A local nuke can be beneficial. Yep. How addictive it is. Hey, Lou, how are you doing? Oh, yeah. It's crazy how addictive it is. The complexity. That is so true. There's such complexity to beekeeping. Jennifer, hands-on, not as easy and carefree as we thought. Isn't that true? Yeah, absolutely. How many bees can die in the winter? Boy, that's a new one. Hey, Brian. So frustrating to see bees dying in the winter. Yeah. How quick the bees will leave a bad hive environment. They will if they get slimed with small hive beetle or something like that. Loud noises sometimes. Harrison, bee suits get so hot. Oh my goodness. I almost had a heat stroke last year. It was so hot one day. I just had to stop and sit down. I was really pushing it. Yeah, you're right. That's a good one. Sherman and Kathy, amount of time needed to stay on top of things is huge. And if you have a full-time job, a family, hobbies, other interests, pretty tough. Yeah. How heavy the boxes are to lift. Now, they're getting heavier. I think gravity is increasing. The older I get, things starting to weigh a lot more. So it's got to be gravity. It's getting heavier. Yeah, that's true. Gary, this is expensive, and you need 3 to 5 hives to be more successful. You need more hives, right? To be successful. Just add more. Yeah. The storage. Yeah. Where do you put all the extra boxes, the suits, the hive tools, all these extra places you need to store stuff? Absolutely. And it's not clean. You can't leave it in the house. Good one. Importance of safety gear and smoker. Yeah, no kidding. Got to have all that protective gear, smokers. Guys are coming up with some good ones. What do you wish somebody would have told you before you would have started? Need to feed the bees in the winter. Yeah, that's true. It helps them tremendously, doesn't it? Absolutely. That there's more to it than just buying a hive. Yeah, LOL. Boy, that's true, Matthew. More to it than just buying a hive. You don't have to take everyone's advice, learn and make your own decisions. Well, Rachel, that's brilliant. Not everybody has caught that yet. And so you try to do what everybody tells you to do and wind up doing a whole lot of other things that are just a modge podge of stuff. You don't own the bees. You are their manager. Boy, Leslie, that's true. They kind of own us, don't they? They manage us, it seems like. Yeah, that's tough. Hey, Mark, I wish I knew how important it would be to follow the weather to plan my days. Yeah, yeah. I've learned a long time ago, just do the beekeeping things, and whatever the weather is, just put up with it. I think that's what I've learned. Wow. I wish I had a better idea that the hive functions as an organism, not individual bees. So you need to save the whole. That's right. They are a single super organism. Yeah. Buy a dedicated freezer. I have one for sale. I'd like to get out of my basement. I wouldn't even sell it if you could come take it out of my basement. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it does come in handy. Absolutely. Let's take another one, and then we'll get into today's lesson about this subject too. Let's take one more. John, get to know your local bee group. Having people on speed dial to help out is invaluable. That is so true. Yeah, thanks. All right, well, let's jump into today's lesson. I wish they would have told me this before I started beekeeping. One of the things I find that is kind of an eye-opener to new beekeepers is what's that color on the queen on her back or her thorax? And sometimes we don't remember, or we may have forgotten the color code systems, but every year the color changes. And so that color system is designed to help us know what year that queen was born. That's why it's called the International Queen Color Code System. And I've made several videos. I made a couple of videos last summer explaining this color code system. And so that's an important thing to realize. It just helps us to find the queen. It also helps us know how old she is, what year she was born. How about this one? There's only certain times of the year to add boxes. You can't just add them when you want. I see this especially something that new beekeepers will do. They'll get a big hive kit, like 2 deeps, 2 supers, and maybe they get a package of bees. And not understanding how to add the boxes, they simply just throw the bees in these 4 boxes. Now, that's not horrible. It's not the end of the world, but it works a lot better if you can add your bees to one of the deep boxes at a time. Let them grow to 5 to 7 frames. Add the next box, 5 to 7 frames. By growing, I mean pulling out the wax, adding brood or resources to those frames, and then you can get the next box. Just keep adding them as the bees grow. That's important to know. How to buy the right size of equipment. Now, this is important too. I get a lot of people that will contact us, and we sell the Burns feeder boards. We sell the Winter Be Kind boards that we created. And we have a lot of people that don't realize that we sell both the 8 frames and the 10 frame hive equipment. So let me show you. So here's the feeder system that you can use in the spring. And I can tell this is a 10 frame, but we do sell one that's, a few inches smaller for 8 frames. And it's not uncommon for people to tell us, I've never heard of an 8 frame. What is that all about? Well, some people like 8 frame hives. So you got to know what size equipment you have. Now, some of you might run different types of hives too. You might run like a top bar. You might run a Langstroth, horizontal Langstroth. You could run maybe the new Keeper's hive. You might have a Lands hive. All of those configurations are going to present a lot of different things that might confuse you. So know what equipment to buy and the right size you're going to buy. Here's a good one too. And a lot of people will do this. You can't just move a hive anywhere, anytime. And we think we could. I mean, why not, right? Well, because those foragers are so good at knowing where their home is that they will go back to the same location. Even if you move the hive somewhere else, they will not know where it's at. And that's why we say you got to move it either 2 miles away or 2 inches a day. So you got to move it gradually and let them kind of get used to that. Or you got to take it away for a couple of weeks, a couple of miles away, and then bring it back to the new location. So don't just, a lot of people do this when they buy a package or get a nuke started. They'll start it, and then they'll just decide to move it somewhere else, in a few weeks. And it totally confuses the bees where to go. And here's another one. Now, this is something that it blows my mind because for years, we always did it the same. There was never an issue. Back in the old days, we basically had a Benton wooden three-hole cage. And that's what we used. And it was just the norm in beekeeping. The queen was in a three-hole Benton wood cage, right? And so it has 3 little drilled holes in it with a screen. And one of the holes at the end has candy in it, usually covered with wax paper. And then the other 2 holes is where the queen temporarily is in a package with a few attendants. Now, recently, I've seen, I guess the introduction of the J's Bees plastic cages, which we use in our packages without attendants. But I know a lot of people are getting their packages in wooden Benton 3-hole cages without any candy in it at all. And they're confused about what to do. And they're told to put a marshmallow in the end of it. And let the bees. The reason we have candy there, we don't want to quick introduce the queen. We want a slow introduction. But the other thing is, excuse me, the other thing is that we shouldn't make that the beekeeper's responsibility. Not everybody has a marshmallow sitting around, right? And you're thinking, well, what do I do now? I don't have a marshmallow. The other thing is, I don't think it's good to have a quick release. And the final thing is, a lot of people don't know on a Benton cage which cork to pull off. They have a cork at both ends, at the candy end and at the non-candy end. If you get a Benton 3-hole cage for a package this year, pull the cork out of the candy side, the white plug candy side, not the other side. That's a direct release. So that's a little confusing. Okay. I wish somebody would have told me that a new package can abscond. That absconding means all the bees leave, not a swarm, but they all leave because who knows why. And here's some tips though. If you want your package to stay put, you can put a screen like a queen excluder above the bottom board. So a queen excluder, you have your bottom board, then you put a queen excluder there and you put your deep box there, pour your bees in there. And so the queen cannot leave through that queen excluder and it helps them stay put. Don't leave it on more than a couple of weeks because your drones can't leave, but that'll help. So also try to separate multiple installs of packages. You put them side by side like that. One package can abscond and go all the way into the other package next to it. And so also, I always recommend people to avoid absconding of a new package. You don't have to worry about it with nukes, but a new package, it's good to cover the screen bottom board. If it's a wide open bottom board, sometimes the bees are seeing too much light and they like a dark cavity nest area. So throw something in there for the first week to let them know they have a cozy house. Okay. Nobody wants a new home with the floor missing and neither do the bees. Okay. Wish somebody would have told us that your colony will swarm and exactly what do you do? How do you prevent it? This is real common. Those of you that are so lucky to have your bees make it through the winter, guess what? They're going to swarm. It's a reproductive swarm. They're going to head for the trees. They're going to raise a new queen and the old queen will leave with the swarm and the new queen will take over and you'll lose half your colony. They'll rebuild. It'll be fine. But, you got to be ready for it. You can manage it with some good skills. We do have an online course, online spring management course that might help you a lot. Learning how to manage those spring swarms as well. Okay. And we all wish somebody would have told us, do not spray your flowers or your lawn. Now, this is something that a lot of people get used to doing before they get into beekeeping. They spray 7 on their apple trees or blooms or whatever to kill bugs. And all at once, you get bees and you don't realize that some of the things you're spraying to get the insects to go away are going to kill your bees too. And I think it's funny when I can always tell when I meet a new beekeeper and you can tell by their lawn, their yard, because they mow erratically. They don't mow all the flowers down. You'll see patches of clover. Come on, leave a comment if you've ever not ran over your clover when your bees are out on it. I can't bring myself to do that. I'm sorry. I am not going to grind up bees on my clover in my yard. I just won't do it. And Christian is our youngest son. He's 17 now. He does our mowing in the summer, and I'll give him a pretty good explanation. Don't mow this area right here. You can mow that over there. It's dried out clover. Mow that down so it repops, but don't mow the clover right here. So that's a lesson we have to learn the hard way sometimes. All right. Don't take off the first year's honey. And why is this so important? Well, the bees do a lot of work the first year to get things going. And oftentimes they don't really make a lot of honey the first year. They have to metabolize that honey so they can make wax and draw out the comb. But if they do have some honey the first year, I know you want to take it. But sometimes if you take too much off the first year, they don't have anything to overwinter with. They need food. So be careful about taking too much honey off the first year. Let them have something to make it through winter. Now, the next thing is don't remove honey from the brood nest area. I get this question asking me a lot. People will say, David, I want some honey. I don't have a lot of honey in my super yet, but I'd sure love to take some honey. After all my hard work, can I take a frame of honey out of the brood nest area? And the answer is no. Let's don't do that. You can't do that because that's a brood nest area. That's the maternity ward for all your bees, and all that honey is food for the babies. So please don't take that out of the brood nest area. All right. I wish somebody would have told us that you cannot see mites very easily. You have to run a test. Now, there was a long time in my teaching career in beekeeping early on that I had trouble convincing people that they couldn't see mites. They were thinking they could easily see mites. They were going to be the size of a small hive beetle maybe. And they're like, yeah, I look in there, I don't see anything. Well, unless you've got really, nearsighted eyes, you're not going to see a virile mite. And so you got to realize they are very difficult and hard to see unless you have some reading glasses or nearsighted, then you'll see them. So don't trust that you can judge whether you have mites by what your eyes tell you. You need to do an alcohol wash. And that's when you alcohol wash 300 bees, and then you count how many mites are on those 300 bees. You need to do that to control mites. And another thing I wish people would have told us when we started, hold off using a queen excluder until the right time. Now, this is really critical too. It's really easy for a new beekeeper when their 2 deep boxes are all full and it's time to add a honey super on top, but the honey super is not drawn out. It's just foundation. They haven't added any of their wax to it. And it's easy to throw a queen excluder there and lay your honey super above the queen excluder, keep the queen out from laying eggs up there. So you just get honey. Well, that doesn't work very well because it's hard for the worker bees to wiggle through there. They do it and it's manageable, but it's better to wait until it gets a little fuller. And I like to suggest putting the honey super on for about a week and let them start drawing out the comb. And then you can put the queen excluder on, make sure the queen's not up there. If she is, you can tap the frame she's on and make her go back down before you put the queen excluder on. So be careful. And talking about the queen excluder too, you got to realize that queen excluder needs to come off before you go into winter. That's something people don't often hear when they become beekeepers either. The cluster might move up into, through, and above the queen excluder, but unfortunately the queen can't go through there and she'll die, and the colony can die pretty quickly after that too. So get the queen excluder off in the fall before you go into winter. And another thing I wish people would tell is that you have to feed your bees in the spring and during a dearth period when the flowers aren't there, and during droughts, and fall and winter. So essentially, you got to feed your bees all the time, except maybe when you're collecting honey. When the bees are bringing in honey into your honey supers, you don't want to feed them. Any other time you don't have your honey supers on, hey, bees pretty much need fed to stay healthy. This is really important and it's not spoken enough. People learn this the hard way. I've seen so many pictures. Never leave a frame out. So in other words, you're picking up you're doing your inspection. Maybe you're taking a green drone comb out for Mite Control, and then you don't put anything in its absence and you leave a big gap there. Well, within a few days, your bees will make a comb there with no support to it. And it's going to be hanging from the frame above it or your top cover or something like that. It's going to fall, be a mess. It's hard to correct it. So never leave a frame out. Every time you put a hive back together, make sure all your frames are in there and smashed evenly toward the middle. Here's another one too that I think a lot of mistakes are made here and it causes a lot of issues. So listen closely. Never leave a frame out of the hive, a frame of honey near a hive. I've heard people do this a lot. They'll harvest 10 frames out of the honey super, and then they'll take the honey super, we call it a wet super. The honey's gone, but it's still a little wet with honey, and they'll let the bees clean it out. We all do it. But the mistake is to leave it too close to a hive. And the bees will go to it from other hives, and then they'll start robbing the hives that are close to it. So you don't ever want to leave a frame of honey near a hive, or even if it came out of the same hive, because robber bees will be from other hives. See what I mean? Don't ever do that. So put them real far away if you need bees to clean those up. Never leave frames of honey in an open building. Now, I've heard so many stories of beekeepers who harvested supers of honey in the fall, and they did it in their garage, and it was nice day and everything. And so they have all these extractors and honey supers, in their garage, and they left the door open. It doesn't take but a few minutes for every bee within 3 miles to know where that is. And your garage will turn brown with bees for weeks and weeks, maybe the rest of the year. It is unbelievable. I know that because so many of you told me that you did that. So if you're going to harvest honey, got to be in a room, maybe somewhere there's no way, no chance that bees are going to come after that honey you're harvesting. So sealed in the air conditioning gaps or whatever holes you might have where bees might get in there. Be mindful of that. Now, finally, I think this is our last one. Yeah. Finally, bees are our teachers. Somebody left a comment when we were talking earlier that, we don't own our bees. We manage them. And we need to realize that our bees are really our teachers. They're showing us and teaching us how we need to manage them. And so it's going to not end well if we're going to force our bees to do things our way. And that's what a lot of beekeepers do. It really is. It's a trend now to make bees do things our way. We talk a lot about that. People give a lot of, there's a lot of YouTube videos where people will say, if you use this and if you do that, then that will force, we use the word force, that'll force your bees to do this. That will make your bees do that. That way you can force. Well, if you're going to force bees to do things, you're not really cooperating with bees, are you? You're forcing. I can force them into the top. I can force them down to the bottom. We can upset the apple cart and make bees do what we want to, but then that apple cart is going to come back to bite us in the butt because we're going to realize, now I've got more issues because I did that to them. And a good example of that, I think, is anytime we use special equipment, a double screen board, if you use a dim array method of swarm control, if you start doing a lot of those things like that, unless you're really, really good in understanding bees, you're going to find yourself in a pickle. I have a lot of people over the years. I've had Bee Team 6, and I love helping you guys that are part of Bee Team 6. But I've had a lot of people buy all kind of different types of complicated bee parts, and they thought they watched a video, thought they could pull it off, and it ended in a catastrophe, and they were asking me to help clean that mess up. So you got to know what you're doing before you start using a lot of these things. Let the bees teach us and be our teacher. Let's listen to our bees. Yeah, so that's good. There's a lot of things about bees that, we all wish that, somebody would have told us ahead of time. So there you go. Some of you are writing these things down saying, oh my goodness, I am so glad I tuned in today. I had no idea you couldn't do this or that, or I had no idea that would be a problem, and so that's going to benefit you. This live stream is already adding value to your beekeeping experience. So thanks for letting me share that with you today. That's wonderful. All right, let's jump into some question and answer times. Hey, Elizabeth, is it too late in the winter to put another winter be kind on? It's taken about 2 months for them to eat the first one. Do I add the new one or just or do they need it? Elizabeth, it depends on how empty that one is. If it's pretty much gone, I would not dare want them to go hungry now. We've come too far. If your bees are alive, I'd keep the food going. Yeah, keep feeding them if you can. Absolutely. Do you think the Winter Be Kind helps prevent winter losses? And have you ever used Honeybee Healthy Plus in your candy recipe? We haven't used Honeybee Healthy Plus yet. We like to stick with what works. If you know something about me, I like to use those things that are proven. Sometimes it's a little risky for me to test out something that I'm not sure of yet, but we will be looking into that more. But yeah, I think Winter Be Kind helps bees that would have starved otherwise. Absolutely. Hey, Ryan, thanks for the super sticker. Good to see you, Ryan. And thanks for that lavender fudge you sent me. Oh my gosh. I lost my taste with COVID, but it's wonderful that you sent that to me. I wish I could taste it. Dave, when I was a kid, I walked through abandoned orchards and some trees were hollow. Some had huge honeybee hives in them. Any chance some type of wood might be better at repelling mites? I don't think so, Dave. No. Now, obviously, never say never. That's my motto. There could be wood that is more, I guess, repels mites. But a lot of times we think that different kinds of wood is less likely to be affected by insects. And that is true. You know, cedar, we oftentimes say cedar is not so much to be damaged by insects, but there's been studies done where we've placed mites or, bees into hives of different kind of wood, and it makes no difference at all. It really doesn't. We have so many ways to treat for mites. We need to stick with that. That's for sure. Yeah. All right, Paul, thanks for your hard work. You know, being a content creator on YouTube, I think people think it's easy street. My gosh, it is not. It is so, I've had several kind of jobs and careers in my life, and this is right up there with a lot of them that it's very difficult. So thanks for identifying that this is hard work. To do a walkaway split, can they stay in the same yard several feet away, or do you have to move them 3 miles? Thanks, Paul. Yeah. Kilo Alpha 9, Kilo Alpha India. You must be a ham radio operator. Well, so am I. So yeah, you need to probably do that. What you're saying, take them 3 miles away, but you can also keep them in the same yard if you put something in front of the walkaway split and let them come out of their hive and see something large in front of it. They may take a new orientation flight. That works for me 9 out of 10 times. So that does help. Yeah. Okay, Michael. Hello, David. Coming from Northwest Georgia. I have 2 deeps. The bottom brood is full of bees, and the top, if 10 frames full of honey. What's the next step? Well, next step is to be happy and congratulate yourself on a job well done. Those bees are doing great. Well, you got a whole box full of honey. Extract that honey, I guess. You're in Georgia. You probably got, the end of winter coming on you really fast, spring. So I would definitely get some of that honey out of there once you think they have enough to make it the rest of the way without, any flowers. But make room for some brood. Yeah, make room for some brood, or put it up a little bit higher and add a box in between those boxes. That'd work too. Hey, David, we lost a hive in December and cleared it out. I left the frames with honey in the hive since then. We're in northeast Wisconsin. Temps are cold. Can I leave the frames in for the new bees this spring? Yeah. Absolutely, you can. That'd be great. Do that. Yeah. And by the way, we will leave a link in this live stream so that you can take the survey that I'm asking all of you to participate in to help us gain a little more knowledge about what beekeepers have done this year to maybe help their bees survive through the winter or lost your bees. It'd just be nice to get some data on that as well. Yep. Dwayne, I'm building a few nuke boxes of plywood using Tight Bond 2. I was wondering what is the best paint. I have some oil-based. Can I use oil-based? And do I need oil-based primer first? Dwayne, you're going overboard with that, buddy, I think. No, I wouldn't use oil-based because I had beekeepers tell me in the old days, everybody used oil-based paint on everything, right? And they say that until latex was invented, that the oil base would usually cause the wood to deteriorate from the inside out, too much moisture. And now the latex is breathable. It is great. I would stay with that. I would go with a very high quality latex, outdoor latex paint. And I think that's what you need to do. I would not use the oil base. No, you'll be fine. Hey, Glenn, when do you replace your queen? Glenn, I like to replace my queen yearly if that's possible. I don't always replace them yearly, but it helps so much. You'll have less chance of swarming in the spring. You'll have better winter survival, stronger queens, of course, but you can also replace them every 2 or 3 years. But I would never go, never, ever. And I will say never this time. I would never go longer than 3 years. I'd be afraid she'd die in the winter. Well, Brian, thanks for being a member of my YouTube channel for 8 months now. That's great. Part of our membership, YouTube membership. Is there a rough time? Let's see. Is there a rough time in winter, whereas you can breathe a sigh of relief, that they are more likely to survive the harsh weather, assuming you keep them well fed? Oh, is there really a time? No. Yeah, I never, I really can't say my bees have survived winter until I get way into spring and I see they're building up, because they can still die in the spring from winter because they just got too small. Wayne, thank you for your donation tonight. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, you never know how your bees are going to do until they start building up in the spring. Can they make it? When should I add the green drone comb after installing a nuke colony? I would do it right when you get your 5-frame nuke. Yeah, put it in there. Put it right on the outside edge of those 5 frames. Let them go to town and let it stay in there about 3 weeks. And once it gets started to get capped over pretty good, take that green drone comb out, freeze it for a couple of days, and then you can put it back in the hive and let the hive clean all the dead mites out along with the drones. First year beekeeper in Middle Tennessee. When is the better time to bait brood box to attract a swarm? About 1 week before swarm season in your area in Tennessee. Ask some beekeepers about that. So yeah, you want to get out there and get those up in there as soon as you can, really, and get those traps up before swarm season starts. Have lemongrass oil. How much and where in the brood box do I apply it? Oh, it doesn't take a lot. Bees smell better than dogs do. Thanks, Justin, for your donation. And so you just want to sprinkle some. Either I would put it on the wood, on the side of the wood or something. If you want to put some on the comb, you could. Yeah, it doesn't really hurt anything. It's not going to make any difference. Just get that in there somewhere. Yep. June bug. My North Carolina bees are making comb in my candy board. That is so good to hear. I'm so glad to hear that. Should I put a super on top of it? I do not want drawn frames yet. Wow, that is really good that your bees are that healthy. They're metabolizing the candy board and turning it into wax. That is a good thing to do. I would just try to take it off and keep feeding them my candy boards. They do that to me sometimes. Yep. Well, thank you, Darth Bond. You became a member of the YouTube channel. Appreciate that. By the way, those of you that are wondering, the YouTube channel, you can become a member of my channel by just supporting my channel monthly, become a Nectar novice or a Beak Squad ambassador. So appreciate that. Sometimes we get together as more intimate live streams as well. I think I'm going to start making a video or two once in a great while for you guys. So I really appreciate you being members. Hey, Craig, what are biggest mistakes beekeepers make when trying to prevent a swarm? Yeah, the biggest mistake is not going out there once a week and looking diligently and carefully for swarm cells. That's the bottom line right there. That's hard work. It's busy time and it's hard to see all the queen cells. I know you can tilt the boxes up and look on the bottom, but those swarm cells are everywhere. So you got to be diligent once a week, look everywhere. A lot of work. Especially if it's a big colony. A lot of work. Yep. We got a giveaway coming up in a few minutes, folks. So I appreciate that. Stay tuned. Starting 3rd year. Good for you. You're a trooper, Rick. Good. Still difficult to find queens. Hate to hear that. Yep, I know. Can I do a walk-away split, come back 3 days later to see which deep is building queen cups and put a queen in it? Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. That's a good way to handle that if you want to. On the other hand, you wouldn't even have to worry about it. Just make a walk away split and check that you have brood in 2 or 3 weeks in both boxes. If you don't, put a queen in there. Let them raise their own queen. Yeah. Hey, Cindy, does swarming decrease mite levels and a brood break? Absolutely, it does. Apis mellifera scutellata, the Africanized bee, is known for its ability to be less affected by mites based on doing just that. They swarm so frequently, they break the brood cycle of their own queen, and the mites aren't able to reproduce so much. It does help a lot. That's a technique I use in the fall. Mac Adams, thanks for your donation tonight. Thank you guys for supporting the live stream. Hey, Glenn, been reading about splitting and your videos, feeling optimistic about it. Anything to remember when doing it? Not really. I love doing it. I take 4 frames out of a big colony that survived the winter, and I move them away with the old queen and, put frames back in place of the other ones that I took out, and it works so nice. It's just so simple. It's simple. I've got to do stuff that's simple, really. Yeah, I like keeping it simple. All right, we'll take a couple more, and then we'll have our giveaway time. Maybe we might do our spinning the wheel in just a second. Nathan, hey, David, do you have any experience with 5.1 or 4.9 millimeter cell foundation instead of the standard 5.4 for Mite Control? Was thinking about experimenting with them. Nathan, I have played around with this. In fact, I played around with regressed bees is what this is called many, many years ago. It was really hard for me to keep my bees regressed if they swarm and all that. And I would say there are much more efficient ways to keep mites under control than trying to do it with small cell size management. And most people aren't too crazy about this method. And there's been some studies that show that it does work. Some say it doesn't work. I don't know. It just seems like I'm gonna find the ones that have a little better proven efficacy on mite control. But that's not to say this isn't a great deal. We all want to find ways to control mites without a lot of medication. And if this proves to be the case, it might be helpful. Yeah. So let's do spin the wheel. You guys ready? Now this, let me get it over here. Yeah. All right, spin the wheel. I find this a lot of fun, and it has a lot of different things that may happen on here tonight. So we'll find out. Yeah, over 700 people have joined us again. Thanks for being here. So there's a lot of things that can happen here. We got safety tips. We got rapid fire, where we do rapid fire question and answer. Or you can force me to do an embarrassing tremble dance. Or we got a little bit of bee trivia going on. A 30-minute Zoom. That's happened one time where I get on a Zoom meeting with just one of you and talk for 30 minutes. That's a lot of fun. And then we have talk about bee anatomy, or I will show you some stuff that you have to identify. So let's give it a spin. We may have some giveaways. If it lands on the Beak Squad symbol, then we have things to give away. By the way, a lot of you are buying the Beak Squad merchandise. You can see in the background. And a lot of you like the shirts, the hats, the sweatshirts, the hoodies. You like some of the coffee mugs. And I think we have a big winner in the Beak Squad coffee mug and the coffee mug with the Van Gogh painting, and it has beehives on it. Oh, there they are. Yeah, see that? Big hit right there. And Robbie, where do they go to buy those if they want to get one of those? If you want one of those, you can go to our merchandise place. I think a banner is going to appear soon. I feel it will. There you go. So yeah, if you want any of this apparel or these mugs to be part of the Beak Squad, that's just all of us here on the live stream. You can check that out as well. That'd be good. All right, well, let's do a little spinning of the wheel. I reserve the right not to do something tonight because I have COVID. I mean, I feel like dancing. Come on. All right. Oh, I can't believe it. You guys are killing me. How do you do this? Why does it always land on a tremble dance? They dance. I'm never going to put a dance in that location anymore. Oh, the tremble dance. All right. Well, a tremble dance is when the bees are doing like a little bit of a dance, but they're trembling. All right. Here's a tremble dance. Are you ready? Oh. All right. So, and we need somebody to go online and do research and tell us why bees do a tremble dance. What is it that they're doing and signaling when they do a tremble dance? A tremble dance is, this room is not as big as it looks. I've been down. I'm tall. This is not how tall I really am. I'm 9 foot tall. So a tremble dance is just bees trembling almost in a complete circle like this. Tremble, 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 tremble. I'm short of breath. Huh. All right. Anybody find a good reason why bees do a tremble dance? Wow, that's crazy. Every time. I wanted to land on something fun. You thought that was fun? Well, I didn't think it was funny. It didn't. I got a little window coming up. It did not land on fun things like, we got a giveaway coming up. Don't go away. I was hoping it would land on, here we go, bee anatomy. I love bee anatomy, don't you? To know about bees. Bees are so cool to know all their little parts and everything on a bee. But I'm gonna show you a bee up close and see if you can identify. Get ready. All right. A long time ago, I'm out of breath. A long time ago, I made a video about this little model here. But a lot of you on Beak Squad are really smart people. And I don't know if you're smart because you watch all my videos and you've become smart, or if you were already smart when you got here. But here we go. Here's a bee kind of cut in half. And look at this. What is this gland right here? In the head, see? See, bees have 3 eyes. There's a big compound eye right here. Then they have the ocelli. Only 2 of them. One got cut off, but they have the triangular ocelli up here. But leave a comment. Post it up there if you get this right. What is this gland right here? It's a very important gland that we find in worker bees. What is that gland? Say queen mandibular pheromone gland. No. Almost. Oh, there you go. Hypopharyngeal gland. Yeah, it's a hypopharyngeal gland. Hypopharyngeal gland. It actually produces the royal jelly. And so you can see all these little, kind of like a rope with all these little grapes on it. They plump up, and that makes the royal jelly. And then they suppress it out of their mouth, and they feed young larvae with it. Isn't that amazing? Hypopharyngeal. But look at all those different parts of the bee. We'll talk about that more as we go, but that's pretty cool, isn't it? All right. Wow. All right. Very good. Let's have a giveaway. Today, we're going to be giving away 2 of our mugs, 2 coffee mugs. We'll start with this one. So this mug today has my mug on it, and it says coffee time. A lot of you enjoy my coffee time when I talk about maybe some things about life. I like sharing about, I like giving value about beekeeping, but I also know that I like giving value about life in general. You know, we learn about life from our bees. So this one actually has this inside. I'm not sure if you'll get this, but it's a little sticker of me. Oh my gosh. I was never so embarrassed when I was at a conference recently and somebody made sugar cookies with my face on it. That was amazing. I was so embarrassing. So anyway, let's say who wants to win this coffee mug, and got a picture of me on it. Just hashtag mug in the comment section will get you into the drawing, and we'll spin the wheel to see who will win the mug today. You can have a cup of coffee with me. Good to be with you guys today. Awesome time together tonight. Yep. A lot of good questions. We'll have hopefully have a few more minutes here to answer some more questions after our giveaway. Very good to see so many of you here tonight as well. Appreciate it. I've been working hard to make videos this week, and appreciate all of you for a good response to the videos that I'm making. Always fun to share with beekeeping with you guys. Hashtag mug. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate you so much. All of you. Appreciate all of you. Really do. You guys are great. What a loyal group of beekeepers to come together and have fun together. It's so cold outside. What else are you going to do on a cold night, right? Wow. Got to get together with a bunch of beekeepers and talk bees. I made a video. Have you watched it? Might have been my last video that I made where I said, it's really going to be okay with bees. I know we're getting reports that bees are dying, like another CCD kind of episode, that bees are collapsing and all that. Really, I'm optimistic that things are going to be fine. Our bees are going to pull through. We've faced a lot of losses with bees here and there, and we do fine. So let's keep our fingers crossed, hope for the best. All right, Robbie, let's see who's going to win a mug. We've got another giveaway after this mug. All right, tonight, be drinking some hot coffee or hot cocoa or hot tea. All right. Let's see who's going to win. Oh, there goes Harry and George and Larry and Teddy and Thomas and Glenn, Henry and Ryan. Oh, Mike C is the winner. Congratulations, Mike. You win the coffee mug. And you can see at the bottom, Mike, you'll need to email us so we can send that to you. So copy that email address down. Email us within 24 hours if you can. Appreciate it. beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. Do that, Mike. Thank you, Marianne, for your donation. Super sticker tonight. Now, we have another giveaway, and I think this is going to be good too. We're really focusing on coffee time. This is another mug, and it says YouTube, David Burns Beekeeping, and on the back it says Coffee Time with David. So you can join me with coffee time. Every time I go to a conference, I get so many people that come up to me and say, I love your coffee time. I love your coffee time. It's usually a point really deep into the video where I'll share life experiences, good or bad. And people like that. And so I got to do more of those. Yeah. So it's still time to put your name in the hat. Just type hashtag mug, and you'll be getting this coffee mug different than the other one we just showed. This has a little sunshine on it, ball of sunshine, I guess. We're all looking forward to sunshine, aren't we? You betcha. All right, let's see what the wheel will show. Mike just won. All right, so if he wins again, we'll spin it twice and get somebody else to win. All right, let's see who wins. There's Chase and Carl and Gary and Freedom. Oh, Jeff. There you go, Jeff. Congratulations, Jeff. Make sure you see the banner floating across, and you can email us within 24 hours at beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. That's fun to have some giveaways. Absolutely. Hey, all of you, don't forget, next week, we're going to have Dr. David Peck on, and I think everybody enjoys Dr. David Peck tremendously. I love working with him at EAS, Eastern Apicultural Society, where we certify master beekeepers each year. And David's a great guy. He's a solid person. So we need to really look forward to him. It's going to be next Thursday on the live stream. He's going to be answering your questions about treatments and anything else you want to ask him. That's going to be a lot of fun next week as well. All right, let's get back into some final questions. By the way, I do answer questions that I don't answer here. I'll try to do them again. I may not get to them on Friday. I'm going to be changing up, probably doing, rather than making it on Friday, I'm going to be doing it on Saturday or Sunday. My videos do reach a little bit more people on the weekends than on Friday night. So I'll probably do that video Saturday or Sunday. Gary, how are you? When do you go one-to-one? When you go one-to-one, should it be straight sugar plus water, or use the supplements you use in your candy bars? I like to add the supplements, a teaspoon of Honeybee Healthy, a teaspoon of Amino Bee Booster, and a teaspoon of the pollen substitute powder in one-to-one sugar water. Yep, I'd mix that up. Sure would. All right, a couple more questions. Hey, Caleb, what are your thoughts on fall brood break to combat varroa mites? I've made so many videos. I bet I've made 2 or 3 videos each year, Caleb, on this. I promote it. I think it's a great idea. It does help control mites. Absolutely. you got to make sure your colony is well populated. If they're not, don't break their brood because you're reducing the bees in the hive. But if they're really populated well, yeah, break that brood. Absolutely. Cut down on mites. Janelle, I purchased a swarm trap. How close to my hive should I put it? Yeah, that's anybody's guess, Janelle. Usually people like to put it like on a fence row, so, where kind of feel like bees might land, and they don't always land right next to their hive when they swarm. They usually swarm a little bit further out from it. Just use good judgment. Pretend you're a bee. Where would you land if you swarmed out of a hive? How do you feel about catching swarms from wild bees? A lot of people are skeptical of that, Jan. I know that some people don't know what genetics they're getting. And if you live in where there's Africanized bees, I wouldn't do it. No way, because I'd be scared I'd get an Africanized hive. But I'm not afraid to get swarms where I live because the bees are good here. And I love when I get swarms, they just take off and go really good. But you don't know. It's a roll of the dice about what genetics you're getting. Yeah, but you can always change your queen out if you don't like the genetics. Absolutely. Danny, I have 8 frames of nectar in the freezer from my dead out. When I get a nuke this spring, do I just surround the frames I get with that and immediately add a super? Yeah, I would do that, Danny. Yeah, that's fine. You're not overthinking it. That's good. That's simply put that way. You can add a super or you can add another deep box. Sounds like you live in the South and maybe you only run one deep. Well, hello there, Tom. How are you? Thanks for your donation. Hope you feel better and that you don't get Sherry sick too. I think Sherry gave this to me. Yeah, I think she did. I'll go with that. Actually, we had some construction workers working on our house inside, and they all came down sick, and I got it from them. My prize colonies are still thriving during another brutal northern Minnesota winter. Tom, when I talked to Tom, he's like, well, it's 500 degrees below zero again. And it's like, Tom, you're killing me. Thank you for all your help, David. Burns method works. Okay, well, I appreciate that, Thomas. Yeah, boy, if it works anywhere good, man, where you live, Tom, wow. You got to be a tough old bird and have tough old bees to live where you live. It sounds rough. Navy Phil, David, what is the number one thing you would tell your younger self concerning beekeeping? I would tell myself to keep it simple and not overthink beekeeping and try to learn beekeeping slowly on your own rather than listening from everybody under the sun. Try to spend more time in the hive, connect with your bees. Absolutely. I think we're panicking, thinking we got to listen to the brightest person out there, the next report or the next this or that. It helps us, but unless you get your elbows grease going and learn about bees, it's not going to help you that much. Hey, Jared, if you are, let's see, in your area, what's the most amount of production hives you would put in one yard before you get diminishing returns? One time I had 100 colonies where I live now, and I'm surrounded by corn and beans, but I do have a small town near me. My bees would go there easily. I do have a river close to me. My bees could go to black locust along the river. And they all did really well. They made a lot of honey out in the middle of corn and beans, 100 colonies. So that's going to be a toss up. That depends on how much nectar is in your area. Get on Google Maps and just draw a 3-mile circle around where your bees are and see how much foraging could occur. What are they growing near you? But yeah, I would think you could have a lot more than you think. Really do. Now, there's a lot of debate nowadays. I'm not going to take any time to talk about it, but there's a lot of debate that say if you bring in a lot of beehives into one area, you're going to hurt the native pollinators. Hey, Richard, what's the best way to manage small hive beetles? I like the way you spelled that, like the beetle group. It is actually going to be large populated colonies. Keep your colonies very healthy. And then you need to make sure that you have something in the hive to trap those small hive beetles, Swiffer pads, oil traps, use all the methods, use every big gun that you can. Don't think they're just going to go away. They're going to hurt you eventually. Hey, Jenny, thank you for your donation. Yeah, keep beetles under control. Smashing is the best, most satisfying way to control small hive beetle. But there's a lot of ways to do it. All right, let's take one more question tonight. Thank you all for being here. Wow, what a great group, too. Big group of people tonight. Give me one more question. Hey, John, do you ever rotate deeps? I have one surviving hive and it seems to be bursting at the seam. Just wondering if moving queen back down to bottom is good. Well, I did make a video last week about rotating your hive bodies, when and how and all that. Yeah, sometimes it does help them pick up the pace a little bit if you can move the queen down. And you have to kind of be a skilled beekeeper and feel comfortable handling the queen. You don't want to injure, damage her. Then you're kind of, you wish you hadn't done that. You're gonna hurt your bees. But it helps. It really does help to sometimes rotate those boxes. But if you have brood in both your deep and your bottom and your top deep, I wouldn't rotate them. No. All right, folks, that is it for tonight. Thank you all for being at the live stream. Wow, what a packed house. Standing room only. Some of you were standing up over there in the corner on the live stream. Couldn't get a chair in tonight. So, wow, I'm kidding. I appreciate that so much. If you're watching the replay of this, thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. You guys mean the world to me. I want you to know that I'm here because of you. I'm here to help you. I think it's important that I add value to your beekeeping endeavors, and I'm working for you. So I appreciate your support of me and my efforts to help you understand beekeeping and do well with it. Beekeeping isn't easy. I made a video a couple of days ago about how beekeeping is going to require more vigor from beekeepers in 2025. So I'll be talking more about that, but you need to watch that video if you haven't. Going to be a little bit tougher for beekeepers to really wrap their head around keeping their bees healthy in 2025. So we're going to have to get on top of that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We have lots to learn, but you guys are the best. If it wasn't for you, I'd really be sad. So thanks for being here. I love you guys. I wish I could be with you in person and just let you know I appreciate you. Put an arm around you, give you a hug. Gosh, it's great. So good night, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.